Hey, my name is Joe,
And I'm Mary Beth.
and this is the best of Gen X.
We are in our 40s.
And we're siblings,
We'll talk about adulting in a world so different from the one we grew up in,
so excuse us while we save a generation.
one episode at a time.
Let's go.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Mary Beth.
How's it going?
It's going awesome.
I want to cry.
I'm so excited to be here today and start.
I know. We're a little behind. We had some technical problems. Why? Every time we have a guest, it's just when we have a guest.
Or every time we start earlier to get prepared,
Yeah.
we always end up at the same
God laughs
spot. Yes.
at us. Well, how's your week been?
It's pretty good. My high school team that I coach at lost our sectional, so
I'm sorry.
my schedule goes from 6 days a week to nothing. So I'm going to be the most boring person, relaxed, go do whatever I want, whenever I want.
I'm rubbing off on you.
I know. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I mean, you build relationships with those kids, and it's a little emotional when it's over. You know, we had 3 seniors, but
Oh, I know all about that.
yeah, so told them I loved them, there for you anytime, be coach forever. But then when I got home, I was like,
Freedom.
I don't have to go to practice at 2:30 tomorrow.
You were Mel Gibson. Freedom.
Yeah, so I do feel nice and calm and relaxed today because I know that this week is going to be chill.
I'm calm and relaxed at the moment because you've given me a beverage.
Yeah,
What did you put in it?
I put a little bit less than half of Woodford and some Diet Coke. I'm a mixologist.
Yeah, you mixologist it really well.
Yeah, and you were making my head like ginormous because you said it was good. So
It was tasty, and I needed it because this setup was stressing me out.
okay, glad I could help.
So in my house, some shift changes. Things are a little wonky because right before Josh was off for the holiday, they let him know that he was being finally promoted to a maintenance position, which he's wanted for a long, long time. Only now he's in that training process. And so he went from first shift to second shift, which is a really odd lifestyle. And then, like, you would think that it's not that much of a change, but it really kind of is. And then starting this week, he'll be switching to third shift because he has more training to do. So it's just with 2 dogs, and I don't know. I'm tired.
Okay, I
Just say
was going to
that.
ask if you are.
I'm like a baby. My sleep schedule is just off. So like if he gets home at midnight, I wake up and can't go back to sleep. So it's been rough.
Got it. So
However,
he's been promoted to the assistant to the regional
assistant
manager.
to the regional manager. Can we just say one more time how excited we are?
Yes. We always have to throw in an office reference, but we are 6 days away from the Indy Comic-Con.
The best part is that our sister's going, and
We all 3 have our Dwight Schrute shirts.
yes, and we might see the Twilight people. We might get a photo op with them. The times are really close.
Really
We're gonna have
close.
to feel it
We're
out.
gonna have to finagle the system a little bit. We're gonna have to switch badges, or because you and I think we're
Jen may have to hold our place in the Rainn Wilson line.
yes.
She may have to be me.
But the Twilight folks are 30 minutes before Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
But we have no idea yet how the lines stuff is
Yeah,
gonna work.
like how quick. Anyway, you hear that? You hear that? Like, I know. But you know what? I'm not going to stop recording because it took too damn long to set this fucker
it's literally
up.
my backyard window, and we hear a truck that sounds like it's right on top of
You
my
could
window.
close the window.
Okay, it's my Napoleon Dynamite.
I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid if you move though. The
Yeah,
Bible.
just have them deal with it with us.
Okay. We're out in the country.
Hey, it's authentic.
All right. But I'm super pumped for today's episode. We have a special guest with us, and what a trooper she is, because I reached out barely a week ago and she agreed to join us today. Now, Joe and I have talked about wanting to travel. I'm sure you guys are sick of it by now, but our passports,
I'm not sick of talking about it, so if they're sick about listening to it, sorry.
we go to hell at bazinga.biz.
Yeah, go to hell. Go to hell at bazinga.biz.
Send your criticisms. Anyway, so we've talked about, and honestly, growing up, I don't have a fear of flying, but I've always had a fear of flying over the ocean. And I did when I was a baby, so that doesn't count. So that has always kept me from even dreaming about going to Europe. Like really, even if I want to see, all those beautiful places. However, just in conversations on our episodes that just organically happen, we were both inspired. Like, are we really doing this?
Wait, is this happening?
Is this happening? To finally put this on our bucket list. And so I started thinking about, what else, besides my fear of flying over an ocean, what else has kind of kept me from making that jump across the pond? And I have to say, one of our favorite movies growing up, it's the vacation movie that does not get near the attention it deserves. But European Vacation was one of our favorites. I even watched it this morning.
Oh, you did?
It's just as perfect as it always was.
It never gets old.
And
ever.
so, anyway, I realized that movie, along with, TV shows and things that I've seen just through the years, has shaped my perception of what a trip to Europe would be like. And also because I sort of have that Griswold cloud of bad luck that hovers over me at all times, I feel like I would be the person to go to Europe and get robbed, and my luggage would get lost, and I'd find that one and only hotel that had no numbers on the doors, and everyone had to share a bathroom. So, like, I don't know. I just have a lot of fear that I think is probably unjust. And I'm so excited that we have Amanda B. Did we decide if we could say her last name or not?
It's up to you guys. I don't care.
Amanda Boggs.
Amanda Boggs. Yeah, it's not going to hurt our feelings.
A friend from school. We go way back. I reached out to her because I know that you have taken several trips, big trips in the last several years, just from Facebook pictures and posts that I've followed. And so I thought it would be great to have you on. I would just love to pick your brain, and I'm hoping that we can gain insight from your experiences and your adventures to kind of prepare us mentally for what we're up against if we're going to do this for the first time.
No if.
Yeah, because this is not, we're not
Do
talking,
it. Do it.
we're not talking about road trips here. So I'm just so happy that you're here, Amanda.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
I
Welcome.
appreciate the invitation.
See, normally we'd do a cheers. Clink, 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 clink.
Oh, yeah.
Clink, clink.
Cheers, everyone. I've already finished my drink.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Okay, so why don't we just let you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I, grew up with you guys from a small town. Do you mention the small town, Seller?
We have.
Well, I'm from a small town, and I always wanted to see more than the town we grew up in.
Right.
I love seeing something on TV or in a movie that I can go see in person.
Of course.
Like, that's kind of one of my big... If I can see something from a movie on a trip, I love it. So I always wanted to see more of the world, and not a travel expert by any means, but a travel enthusiast for sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
compared to us, you're an expert.
Yeah, compared to us, you've got all the knowledge.
But you're taking the right first step. You're getting passports.
Yeah.
You're ready to...
Start exploring.
And flying over the ocean is really not that bad, because going to Europe, at least, most flights, it's at night.
Oh,
So
God, that's even worse.
You can't see anything.
Okay, obviously, neither of you have watched the plane crash documentaries that I have.
Oh,
Okay.
I do not watch them.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
either.
mean, some of the worst stories are like at night.
I feel like my mom and dad are always watching one of those airline disaster shows when I go to their house.
Exactly.
That's
I'm
how
like,
our dad does that too.
And I do too.
They're interesting for sure. And
I probably should stop.
Yeah.
I probably should
yeah,
stop watching.
I would maybe
You're like thinking that
Don't
into
watch,
existence. Don't do that.
I know.
don't watch the Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, God.
That's okay.
Castaway. Don't watch
Okay,
that either.
If we keep talking about this, I'm not going to travel.
Okay.
So,
That's been one of my roadblocks. But anyway, we'll get into more of that about the getting there, because that's among my many questions for you. But let's just talk a little bit, Joe, about how we know the Bogsies.
Yeah, so Amanda and I were a few years difference in age and class, so I graduated with her brother Aaron.
Yeah. So Amanda you were a grade above me, and then a grade below me was my brother and.
Well, 2 grades below you.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
Gosh, it seemed like 1 grade. You're right. 2 grades below.
Mm-hmm. We're closer in age than that because you're younger for your grade.
Yeah, I was one of the younger ones. But I remember something from our high school days that I want to bring up, just to give the audience an idea of the kind of person that you are. Be very scared. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So we were kind of among the first classes to get a mass media class.
Oh, yeah. That was
for
fun.
our school.
That was fun.
Yeah,
such good
I did
times.
media too. It was so fun.
Yeah, and so we were kind of the first guinea pigs with that whole thing. And I remember you had a running series with a guy named Robert.
Yes.
That was so damn funny. And honestly, I don't really remember much of the content, like what you guys were doing. I just remember you guys made a great team, and it was always so hysterical. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, thank you. I think there was something locally on TV that it was an eye challenge, maybe the sports reporter on one of the local channels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where we got it from. I know we got it from somewhere, and then it just turned into I Challenge Rob, and it was like I challenge
So
Rob
funny.
to fight a different student. I challenge Rob, and they were all like really silly things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end of the season, we put that to rest.
Well, here's what I remember
But
most.
yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, before I lose it, so I was a freshman when you were a senior, and I was in the media. I was in media, so I did the SCTV stuff. So would we have been in the same media class? Because like me and Corey was in there with me because we had to film stuff together.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it was a mixed grade.
God.
And I
Was
don't,
it? Were there 2 classes?
That's what I'm
I
trying
don't
to. I just don't.
remember.
It's so long ago. I don't remember her being in the media classroom with me.
there may have been 2 sections.
But I
of it.
remember Corey J, who we had to like go in his car a lot to film stuff, and of course that was a.
Well, I
hot
just
mess,
remember her series with Robert.
I do remember that's my point. Like
I remember
was a
looking
freshman, I
forward
remember
to
that.
any episode that aired because it was just so
Oh,
fun,
yeah.
and they had a great dynamic. But what I remember most about that was the culmination of it during the senior talent show when Amanda comes out. She comes out. There's a piano. I remember a rose. I remember you wearing this really nice black cocktail
It was
dress.
my prom dress.
Okay, it was a prom dress.
That was my prom dress that
You
year.
walk out on stage and just so serious, straight face, get into the microphone and just say a nice little tribute to Robert. It's the end of an era. You guys were a team. And you were like, I just want to end the year together by singing you a song, Wind Beneath My Wings. And then and then somehow it turned into Robert and you wearing sunglasses and black leather jackets,
Yeah.
lip syncing Bad to the Bone
No,
together.
I sang it.
You sang Bad to the Bone
Yes.
together.
He came out and said, like, no, Amanda, we're going to rock this joint or
Yes.
something like that. And then the curtains opened and it was Pat Metheny's band.
I'm telling you,
And then I sang the
I
song.
thought you were serious. I didn't know Amanda could sing. And then I thought, oh God, what if she can't?
I know.
This is going to be really awkward. Because the setup you gave was so damn serious. And then it turned into, Bad to the Bone.
But you could hear the whole audience go, oh.
Yeah.
Or I could anyway. I was
Yeah.
like, oh. And I was like, oh gosh.
That-
And then, I sang Bad to the Bone. And at my 10-year reunion, somebody brought out the tape and I'm like, I had never seen it.
Oh my God.
So I got to
you're
see
kidding.
it and I'm like, oh, like the crowd went wild.
Yes.
Was this your senior year?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I would have seen it as a
And-
freshman.
Yeah.
I do think I had a serious reputation. I don't know that anybody thought I had a sense of humor.
That's one of the things that I thought was so great.
I'm actually very funny.
right.
You're so stoic.
That was one of the things about the series that you did on mass media that so surprised me and delighted me. And then at the end, the way you guys chose to end that chapter was just, it's been living in my head all these
That's
years
awesome.
as such a fun memory.
So I don't remember that, but I had to have seen it if I was a freshman.
There was,
I loved
I
it.
remember one episode of the news, for some reason, like nobody helped. And Rob and I did the entire show ourselves. Like we did the announcements, the sports.
That sounds
all of
about
it.
right.
Yeah.
And so then the credits were like, written by Amanda and Rob.
Amanda and Rob.
Filming Amanda and Rob. It was
awesome.
because we were the only two that did it.
I saw his dad recently at the game.
Well,
I hadn't seen him in years.
Let me tell you something else about Amanda that people may not know, but will appreciate. Another reason I thought she'd be such a great guest, and this will give you some insight into who she is. So every Christmas, people who follow you on Facebook could expect a really delightful surprise. And I don't know, I can't speak for anyone else. I sure as hell look forward to them every year. But you would get like a professional glamour shot-esque photo shoot.
Yes.
And then send that out as your Christmas cards on Facebook.
Really?
Like boas, feather boas.
What have I
the
been
makeup,
missing
the
on the
dazzling
book of
dress.
faces?
So the first year, I had done some Christmas cards like the years prior with just like my photo, which I really felt was kind of not egotistical, but like really, like I shouldn't just do a picture of myself for my Christmas card. But I don't have kids or anybody, so it is just me and I, for family or whatever. And then the Kardashians release a Christmas card every year.
Gag.
And I was like, well, I need to release a
Hey,
Christmas
speak for
card.
yourself. Hey, speak for yourself.
Right. Sorry.
So then I happened to see a BuzzFeed list of like the top 10 most glamorous glamour shots. Something like that. And I was taking a photography class, and Lauren Morris, I'll say her whole name because she's a phenomenal photographer.
Yeah, plug her, for sure.
She sat down, she was sitting next to me, and I was like, do you think we could like recreate these? And I'm going to make this my Christmas card. So we did it, and I wore like this old sequin prom dress.
Did you wear
hair.
a boa? Please tell me you wore
I did
boa.
have some boa photos.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
But then I wore this red lip gloss, red lipstick, and then she texted me later on. She's like, I'm editing the photos, and there is red lipstick on your teeth in every picture.
Hilarious.
Please tell me you kept it.
And we did. Yeah, I was like, it's better that way. Just keep
is.
it. I mean, if you get on my Facebook, you can see them.
You
on
have
Facebook.
that instinct. I've always recognized that. Well, I mean, since
thank you.
Since that move on the talent show your senior year, I thought, damn, if I didn't need another reason to love this girl, like I thought you've got it, whatever it is, you've got that bedazzled kind of soul.
Well, I'm going to say it must run in the family. I don't know about your oldest sister, but Erin was always the quiet, calm,
Unassuming.
intelligent, funny. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, sharp.
She is like one of the
Like, he
funniest
was
people
just-
I know.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like his face was always like this, and he had that low voice, but everything he said was funny, but it was just a quiet, calm, intelligent, funny.
And he is like a brute. He is like a blonde Paul Bunyan.
Yeah. As soon as Amanda sat down in the room today, I go, so does your brother still look like he should be an extra on the Game of Thrones? She goes, yes.
Exactly.
But
And-
he was always that way, too. He was always very...
Yeah, and I actually taught with him at the high school for many years because he teaches science, physics, and all that. And he is one of the funniest people
he's
I've
funny
ever
as hell.
met. And you are one of the funniest women I think I know.
Oh, thank you.
And so anyway, when I reached out to you, I was just fingers crossed that she says yes, because I knew that you'd have a great energy, and your experiences abroad would obviously be interesting to hear about. So, okay, let's get into this.
Okay.
All right, did you travel a lot as a family when you were growing up?
Growing up, we did like beach vacations, but we never. The farthest I think I've ever been with them is Florida, New York City for a cousin's wedding. I never like overseas. Never took an airplane vacation with my family.
Really?
But yeah, traveled. And
I
they
feel like that's a
showed
very
us
Midwest
things.
thing.
Yeah.
We all grow up going to Florida for vacation.
Well, because we get the seasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love Destin. I love Panama City. I love Gatlinburg.
We always went to Jacksonville.
We
But I
have
love
family
other
out in
places in the
Jacksonville.
world, too.
I'll tell you what I liked about Destin was that Crab Island. Did you ever do that? Where you can like rent one of those pontoon
yes.
boats and like anchor it, and you can
Yes.
float around, and they have this place is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's cool.
When did you first travel outside of the United States?
In high school.
I'm sorry. We're supposed to take turns asking questions.
Come on now.
I stole his thunder.
You did.
In high school. I think Silver Creek, for being a small school, had a really great foreign language
Yeah, they take
program.
trips.
Shout out
Foreign trips.
Senora Heil and Senora Hunter.
Yes.
That they made a point every other year at least to take kids out of the country, which I think was such a great experience for a small town girl.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
To leave the country, see what it's like going through customs and all that stuff. And they've just made it a really great experience. So
Where did
Mexico.
you guys go? Mexico? Yeah.
Mexico was my first trip.
Yeah, I always wanted to do that too as part of that school thing. The school
I know, and they
forum,
still
never
do
did.
it. And
I know.
they've been, God, all
I think
over.
they're going to Greece this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been to.
At one point, Navy asked me if she could go to theirs when it was time to do it or whatever.
Yeah,
but
they
she
still
didn't
do it every year, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
you went to Mexico first.
Yeah, my sophomore year I went to Mexico. And then my senior year, it was a trip to France and Spain.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
It was my first European trip.
Did you run with the Bulls?
No, not that part of Spain.
I got you.
That's not
What part is that? Is that Barcelona?
Pamplona.
Oh, you're
wait,
right.
no,
You're
is
right.
that
You're right.
Pamplona?
I thought it was Barcelona.
Well,
Well, it might be, but
I'm so
maybe I'm
uncultured.
thinking
yeah,
I'm
we don't
thinking
have
of
to
the
give his
song.
last name, but Mary Beth and I have a dear friend, Dustin, who you went to high school with. Dustin, anyway. And he ran with the Bulls.
Yeah, oh.
Shocker.
Shocker.
And he did the red scarf and everything, I think.
He's one of those
Oh, that is
wake up one
funny.
morning and say, I think I'm going to move to the Caribbean for a few
yeah.
months.
Yeah. So he was my roommate in college for like 8 months. We were frat brothers in college. But anyway, so what would you say was like, I mean, obviously you went in high school, but like as you got to be an adult, like what would you feel like was your main inspiration to really travel more so than outside of like a school group?
Just to see the world. I mean, just to see more than Indiana. I love Indiana. I love where we live.
Proud of
I
your
love
roots,
the
for sure.
Midwest. It's affordable and a great place.
Yeah.
Like you said, we get 4 seasons.
Yeah. It's a great place to
It's
raise
amazing.
kids and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, but I just have always loved history and to go see. Well, another Senora Heiligenberg did always that art.
I miss her.
The art history of Spanish speaking world. In the trip our senior year, we went to the Prado Museum, and I got to see Las Meninas, the painting up on the wall, like I'm
what
right
does that
in
mean?
front of it.
What is that? Is that? I guess it's
Like
a
the
famous.
the little children maybe.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
It's like a picture of like a little princess,
Yeah.
and I think the painter has like painted himself into it. And I remember always liking that picture, and then I got to see it in person.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then on that same trip, we went to the Louvre, and I got to
Oh,
see the
man.
Mona Lisa.
This is gonna be one of those things where you make us feel so boring.
I know. I feel so uncultured.
Like anytime I talk to my friend Luke, who graduated with Aaron and I, went
Oh,
to Princeton. Anytime I talk to him, I'm like, I'm the most boring person, and I feel like I'm a pretty exciting person. Excited.
Right.
But no, I'm not. I'm
We're
really
the
not.
stereotypical Midwest redneck.
Yeah, barely get out to go to the food mart down the street.
Furthest I've traveled
she's
is
talking
down
about
to
the damn Louvre.
We've been to Wally World.
Yeah, exactly. Been to Dolly World.
Well, that's how I always felt about the senior trip, because as a sponsor, I got to go every year. And it got to where it felt like home. But the kids who were kind of on the fence about it, I would always say, you get a chance to see things you've only seen on TV and in movies, and it does make a difference. And it's bigger than you think. It's more magnificent and marvelous than you think. And so
I'm actually glad you said history, because I'm kind of the same way. I've always just been a fan of history. I'm big on the Civil War. Like Mary Beth didn't realize it about me until we started podcasting together. But I just like history. So that would be a motivation for me, is to be able to like physically be in front of something that you read about or hear about or see on TV. Like to me, that is exciting. That would be one of the main reasons I would do it.
Yes.
So I'm glad you said that.
Well, the reason that I wanted to ask you that is because I know that, and we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I know that you don't mind talking about your surgery. If you were to talk about, if you were to like categorize surgeries in levels of seriousness, what you had done was up at the top.
Yes.
I wondered if that had something to do with your sense of adventure. If you don't mind talking about it.
I love to talk about my heart surgery.
gonna
Just
say, I
lean
think-
into this microphone and talk about it a
I've
little
never
bit
even heard
more.
of this story.
Good,
I've never heard about
good.
this.
I had to have a valve repaired, so I had open heart surgery. It's been 8 years.
Oh, wow.
It is my entire identity at this point. I did recently start making sourdough bread, so I'm trying to transition my identity to being all about sourdough bread instead of my heart. But I do talk about my heart quite a bit.
Well,
I think that kind of
that's some shit to go through. I mean, I'd talk about it too.
it definitely kind of makes you think of your own mortality. I started making like plans for my demise, you know, like
Well, plus you were what, barely 40? 39, 40?
I was 40.
Good
Damn.
grief.
Yeah, don't turn 40. It's a trap.
Yeah. Well, I'm already past it, so I
Just be
feel
39 for the rest of your life.
Phew. I made it out alive.
Yeah. It
Okay,
was
sorry, go ahead.
like surreal. And it was weird, like, this is not about travel, but my mom reached out to a lawyer and he was like, she really should get a power of attorney now. Because if you guys have to declare it, if she's incapacitated, it's going to cost you a lot of money and be time consuming. So here I am at a lawyer's office signing a power of attorney to, you know, it's just weird things to think about.
Yeah, it's got to make you feel real solid.
Yeah, and well, people our
Sarcasm.
age,
That's sarcasm.
it's not something that we are commonly confronting, you know,
Right.
in our 40s. So I just wondered if that had something to do with your commitment to
I think
seeing the
yes,
world
it's
more.
maybe a little bit more like if I have a chance to go do something, I want to go do it.
Right.
Well, I mean.
You know, like we're young.
Yes.
We're still young.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
My joints don't hurt when I get up in the morning. I'm still young. You know, to go do, especially like active trips, you
Right.
know, when you're doing a lot of walking or climbing.
That
I want
is
to do
part-
that now.
That is part of my list of questions. I definitely wanted to go there.
I can go sit on a beach when I'm 80, but I'd rather do the, you know, climb Machu
Right.
Picchu
Right.
now.
Well, that's awesome that's your motivation. I mean, it's not awesome of why you're motivated to do it that way because of what happened, but that's really cool.
So how do you, well, what are just tell us some of the more places that you visited.
I've been to England, Ireland. I've been to Ireland 3 times. Scotland. Just recently went to Iceland. Germany. Hong Kong. Went to Hong Kong prior to social media, so that was a long time ago.
I was going to say, I didn't see any pictures from that.
That was a long, long time ago. I've been to the Caribbean a little bit. Puerto Rico a few times. I've not been to South America. I want to go to South America. I've not been to anywhere in Africa. And I would like to see, I don't know, figure out where I want to go there. I don't even know where I would want to go. But,
Right.
yeah,
We're
I think.
just curious. Is it just by chance that those places you haven't been were like lower on your list? Like were the places that you have been, had you just been so excited about seeing those particular places? Or
I think so.
Did it just work out that you got to go to
Yeah,
those
I
places?
wonder, like, how do you decide?
How do you prioritize?
Um,
There's just so many places to see.
There are, yeah. Gosh, I guess I just think about where I think I get kind of fixated on a place. I'll see something and think about, oh, I really would like to see that. And then I get like kind of tunnel vision and then start researching and then, okay, I'm going here now,
Right.
Yeah.
next year or whatever.
Right.
And just South America is like, it feels farther away, even though it probably really isn't. It's just straight down instead of
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I've been to the only out of the country other than where I was born was a trip with my aunt and uncle and cousin to Belize and Guatemala just before I was a senior in high school. But other than that, another thing that I think, I wonder if it's, if I'm just being delusional because it's a movie. I mean, Clark W. Griswold and his family just hopped all over the place. How easy is it really to get around? Like if you went to England, could you really realistically see Ireland, see Scotland?
Oh, yeah. If you,
Like,
yeah.
are we talking same day or same
Oh,
week?
no.
No. I'm talking about like just same trip.
I think,
Because we're talking about separate big countries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to believe that we can take a week or two and go to Europe and visit this place and this place and this place.
No, I know. But that's why I asked, was because some people make it seem like you can just hop on a train and in 2 or 3 hours you're in
Yes.
Italy from, you know what I mean? Like they just make it sound like everything's so
Yeah,
close.
tell us about that.
like, I would like to go to London next year. I've been there before, but I'd like to go again and spend more time there and go to like Stonehenge and stuff like that. So I'm looking at tours and things. You can get on a tour where you meet at the train station in the morning really early, take the train, go under the ocean, and you're in Paris. And then you do a day tour in Paris on a bus.
You said on the same day?
Yeah, and then you come back to England, London that day. You take the Eurostar train.
Are you joking me right now?
No. I mean, like,
had no-
Europe itself, I think, is very compact.
Right.
You know, Ireland is the same size as Indiana.
Right. Mary Beth's making me feel stupid for asking that question.
Wait a
But
second.
I had heard people
But,
talk
like,
about the
if you
close
want to go
proximity.
from
What?
London,
Ireland is the same size as Indiana?
They told us that on one of the tours,
What
and
the
I was
fuck
like,
is wrong with my brain? How did I not know that? Okay.
You didn't pay attention to that part of school.
I didn't.
Miss Overachiever.
Oh, I fell asleep in geography
Yeah.
class. Damn. Okay, so Europe just shrank in my head just now.
I got super excited though.
Right.
Because if we were to ever do something like that, we could go see.
Well, see, what we've talked about on the show is wanting to go to Scotland and Ireland and England and Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wondered how realistic it would be to have it do that all in one trip.
I think you could. Like, there's a lot of low cost airlines in Europe to get from country to country.
Oh, okay.
So I think that actually might be cheaper than the train.
Wow.
Really?
But I have not done any of those flights, but I have friends who have.
Well, I mean, we can add France to that cluster, Mary Beth, because apparently you can just go on a train.
We do have listeners
Go
there.
to, go to Paris and then come back.
I mean, why not? It'd be stupid not to.
Wait, is this happening?
Are we doing this?
Are we doing this? That's our thing. We do that.
Yeah.
We do little.
But
You
like
wanna-
to go to Scotland, I think the train from London to Scotland is like an overnight train.
Oh, okay.
That is
But that would, I think that in and of itself would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's we discovered, and I shared in a recent episode that I got my DNA results back, and I am 52% Scottish. So that's my motherland, and I really want to
That
go.
almost sounded like that Lizzo song. Got my DNA test. Turns out.
Are you Irish?
I think we do have an ancestor on my dad's side that was born in Derry.
Mm-hmm.
And
Girl, you got to have a little Irish in you.
I
Yeah.
know.
You got the red hair. You
Well,
got
Fiery red.
when I went to Ireland, I thought I would see my people everywhere, redheads.
And no?
Just redheads everywhere. And in Dublin, there really weren't a lot.
Really?
A lot of the complexion, but not the red
Sure.
hair. And then one of the tour guides said, "Oh, you'll see more redheads like out of the city." And I still didn't. But then one tour guide said, "Oh, I bet you have some Viking in you." Because apparently the Vikings might have brought the red hair.
Interesting.
And I was like, well, if you saw my brother,
Right?
maybe we are a
Dude,
little
dude,
bit
He's a
Viking.
living, breathing Viking for sure.
Yeah, dude is straight up. Yeah. a
Gangsta Viking.
Yeah.
On my mom's side, it's German heritage.
Okay.
So that makes me sad in America that we all don't speak 2 or 3 languages like they
Right.
do in Europe.
Right.
And I'm like, I should be able to speak German right now,
Yeah.
but I can't.
We all have such a mixed ancestry. You're right.
Yeah, I always tell Mary Beth that for some reason Ireland's always the top of my list, but in Scotland also.
You would love it.
But I said all I really want is to go to this cool like little village with like cobblestone streets, and I'm just making this up because I've never been, so this could be crazy talk. But just like going to like a legit Irish pub and just drinking dark beer with the locals and like listening to their little Irish tunes and stuff. I'll get the biggest kick out of that.
You can do that.
I would fellowship with them. I would sing with them. I wouldn't know what I was singing, but I would and I would talk like that. I'd probably offend the hell out of them.
We did a tour in Ireland of Irish pubs.
I would,
And the guy picked us up, and we went to like
I'd be all about that.
5 or 6, maybe.
Oh, I would
forget
be-
how many stops we had, and he took us to all these like smaller pubs outside of Dublin,
Oh, I'd be all about that.
and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I'd be all about that.
But I do have a good faux pas story
Do it.
when you talk about maybe offending people.
Yes,
bring it.
please.
When I took my oldest niece, to Ireland for her graduation present,
Mm-hmm.
and we were eating at our hotel restaurant. So our table was right next to the bar, and these 2 girls came in, and they were talking to the bartender, trying to decide what they wanted to order, and they were like, "Oh, well, let's get a black and tan. Can you make a black and tan?" And he was like, "I don't know what that is." And they were like, "Oh, da-da-da." And then they went on to something else. I don't know what they ordered. So I'm like, should I say something or not? And I'm like, I would want somebody to tell me. So I
Right.
went up and told them, I'm like, just FYI, it's none of my business, but I don't think you should order a black and tan in Ireland. And they were like, oh, he didn't know what it was. I'm like, no, he knew exactly what it was. You guys are just pretty girls, so he wasn't going to tell you whatever.
Sure.
A black and tan is a reference to the British soldiers that really were awful to Irish people, and their uniforms were black and tan. Black and tan is like a dark beer with a light beer
Oh, I got you.
on top or bottom. I don't remember. But don't order a black and tan at an Irish
Look
bar.
at you.
Oh, no.
And I was
How
like-
did you know that? I mean,
think
I know
I'd
you
read
like
it.
history, but
Yeah, I like to read up on stuff.
So you pay
and
attention
the
to stuff.
internet is like just amazing, the stuff
you
you
comprehend stuff well, apparently.
you can
That's
find.
awesome.
But I felt kind of bad for them that they didn't know.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, but
really
you did
didn't
it.
know.
You did it in a tactful way. I mean, you.
And I thought
trying to be
somebody should tell,
helpful.
like, don't
Don't order a black and tan.
Maybe don't order an Irish car bomb either.
Okay. She is the perfect guest for what you and I have been trying to accomplish with this traveling stuff. Like, she is the one. She is our travel consultant, our consigliere. What about a bucket list? I mean, I know you've mentioned the places you've been. Is there? Well, let me say this. You've mentioned the places you haven't been. Are those like on your bucket list, or there's other places that you're?
Yes, like I really want to go to Argentina, to Buenos Aires.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet that'd be cool. That's one with the big statue that they show. Oh, gotcha.
That's in Brazil.
Oh,
Oh, the big Jesus statue?
Yeah.
That's in Brazil.
Oh, I thought that was... Oh.
I did too.
Do you
I thought
fact
that
check
was
at the end of your podcast?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just say, we could be wrong.
Yeah, hey, fact check,
I'm
false.
pretty sure it's in Brazil.
That's going to be our first order of business. When we become famous podcasters, we're going to get a fact checker live.
You know what? I think she's wrong. I do think she's wrong.
We'll fact check during break.
Okay.
Maybe it's a different statue that I'm thinking of.
I'm thinking of the Madonna.
The balcony, Eva Perón balcony.
No, I'm talking about like the Madonna statue.
Oh.
I don't know. We'll break it up.
Oh my gosh, I could just be... Hollywood's just messed with my brain, and I don't know what's real and what's not.
I'm thinking about like when Edward takes Bella on the honeymoon. It's got the big
right.
whatever that statue is. I thought that was Buenos Aires.
It's also in Romeo and Juliet.
I know, right? Okay, we'll fact check it.
Anyway.
But you're still way smarter than me about all this stuff.
So you want to go to Argentina?
Argentina. My dream vacation probably is the Seychelles, which is like in the Indian Ocean. I don't know even how you get there.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to go there, but I don't know. That might be a retirement gift to myself.
Girl,
Or
that
Tahiti.
I've never even heard it. Oh, Bora Bora.
Bora Bora
I do want
looks
to try
beautiful. That too. But I looked at it on a map, looked at Bora Bora, and couldn't believe how remote. And the Indian Ocean, you're talking about, like, I think of MH370, and they still haven't found it. Like, I think it takes a lot of courage to take these kind of trips. And I was going to ask, did you have any initial fears? I mean, especially, we're used to traveling with our parents. We grew up traveling with our parents and grandparents. Even now as adults, we typically still bring our parents along. But to take a trip, over an ocean to a different country, did you have any fears?
Not really, but then maybe I was too naive to have fear, but if I wanted to do it, I gotta go.
And you haven't always gone with family, have you?
No.
So sometimes you take
I'd
friends.
go with friends or go by myself even.
Have you gone by yourself?
I bet you that's pretty rad though to go by yourself.
Kong. I went to Hong Kong by myself.
Girl.
I went by myself, but I knew people who were there.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was completely,
But still.
The first time I went to Ireland, I was by myself.
Now this might be a stupid question, but in Hong Kong, do they speak enough English, or did you have to like learn?
Yes.
Okay. And you probably read up on that ahead of time. You're like, okay.
Well, they were a British,
Okay, professor.
I don't know if they were a colony, but they were part of Britain until
so much smarter
they
than me.
went
I love
back. They gave them back to China. So yeah, English is, and that's the thing about Europe too. Like, and that's a failure of America. I think that we can't speak other languages, or that we didn't maintain them. But there's very little language barrier in Europe. I think there are people who won't speak English to you, but for the most part, I've always had pretty good luck that it might be broken, but I can figure out,
that was another thing that that European vacation and other stereotypes, like I'd be the person, drop me in the middle of Ireland, I wouldn't be able to understand people just because the accents are too thick. Like that would be me in Europe. Like, huh?
Yeah, you'd be like, what did you say?
What's it like?
Scotland is the worst.
I would imagine.
Which, flying over there, the guy sitting next to me on the plane was going on a golf trip, and he'd been there like 10 times just to play golf. They go to different courses.
Oh, that's so bad.
I didn't know there was that many golf courses in Scotland.
Oh, God. It's like the home of golf. That's where it was.
But he was like, oh, they're so hard to understand. And I'm like,
can be.
I call people all over the world with my job, and I've listened to lots of accents. So I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. It is that bad.
It's hard, yeah. Well, just watching those shows like Highlander stuff, it's hard for me to.
It's hard really
for me to keep
hard
up
to understand.
I do feel like once you kind of get the cadence of it, then I was always like 3 words behind, but I could understand them.
Little context clues.
Are
and
they
stuff.
kind there?
Yes.
Oh, my ancestors are kind. That's good to know.
I like how you put your hand on your chest. Oh,
Yes.
thank God.
Thank God. That's
Was
good
there
to know.
was there any place? And I'm sorry, Mary Beth, if I'm still in a question. Was there any place that you felt like the people weren't welcoming so much?
Not really. I know the first time I went to Germany was in 2003, like December of 2003, so right before the Iraq War started, and I did see an anti-American protest,
Ooh.
kind of marching down the street. I don't know what they were saying,
Yeah.
or what the
I
sign
mean, did you
said,
feel unsafe at all?
but I
or-
didn't feel unsafe.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I've never been pickpocketed, but I've like crossbody bags and don't walk down dark alleys by myself.
Sure.
I don't consider myself to have like really great street smarts just from growing up in a small town. Like didn't have to develop
Same.
that skill.
Same. That was going to be one of my questions. You know, have you ever felt unsafe? And
But I don't like being in a big crowd. Like if it's shoulder to shoulder, I want to get out of it because I don't like people. The thought that somebody might be pickpocketing me and being successful.
right.
But no, I've not really ever done anything where I felt unsafe.
Yeah, because I mean, if anybody's gonna get pickpocketed in another country, it's that woman sitting right next to you. She is gonna get pickpocketed in another country. They're gonna look at her like, oh yeah,
I'm going to be so fascinated. Wow, look at that.
yeah, basically, she can be target number one.
I'll be target. I want to do everything I can to not look like a tourist. Look at myself a beret with my name on it.
Oh my God! And you'll have that tourist camera around your neck.
All right. So, do you prefer to plan these trips yourself, or do you normally go through a travel agent?
I plan them myself. The internet is so nice, these days that I can look up just any information. There's so many bloggers and tour companies. I'll look at itineraries for group tours to see the things that they're highlighting, and then look that up and see if I want to see that or don't see it. And so I book everything myself. normally.
How I feel like you'd be a planner. Are you a planner?
Yes, I love to plan trips. I love to plan trips even if I don't take them. Like, I love to just research, like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool to see whatever.
Well, I just wonder if, like, how much planning do you do ahead of time, and how much do you just decide? I'll decide when I get there.
Oh, if I'm going to take a tour or book something, I book that in advance because I don't want something that I really want to do to be sold out.
Right.
Like, have you ever been to San Francisco?
I have.
No. Well, I've been to Southern California, but not San.
Did you go to Alcatraz?
No, I have to be fair to say it was a work trip, so we didn't leave the hotel very much.
Oh.
But I saw bits of it.
And like, if you ever go again and you want to see it, book it ahead of time because it's almost always sold out.
Oh, really?
Well, I
See?
do.
Yeah.
We do want to take a trip soon to the Pacific Northwest, and
Are you going to go to the Goonies beach?
Maybe
we may.
we don't have anything like set in stone, but
We're trying to decide if we want to go through a travel agent. We've got a friend, Carmen, who can hook us up.
well, she knows Carmen.
But yeah, or if is this something we just want to like show up? And I was like, well, we don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a festival and all the hotels are booked up. So some
Right.
things we feel like we should
Yeah.
plan ahead. But I want to see the Twilight, locations. But the Bella House is like booked for the next 2 years at least. So you can't. I would love to
Like
stay
to
there.
take a tour? Oh, you can stay there.
Yeah, it's an Airbnb now.
Oh wow!
Oh, I did not know that.
So anyway, I just wonder how much, if you could just like book a flight, book a hotel, but then kind of wing it. Is that something you do or have
I
done?
think domestically I would. If I was going to go to anywhere in the United States, I would probably book a hotel and the flights or whatever. But anything else, if you're renting a car, I could wing it here. But if I'm going to another country, I'd like it to be a little bit more structured.
Have you driven in Europe?
I drove in Scotland, and there was 5 of us, and it was a van. So it was a big van on the other side of the road, on the other side of the car. Like, my spatial awareness was like,
Spatial
I
awareness.
can't even imagine.
I think Aaron was up front with me the first leg of the journey, and he was like, curb, because I kept like hitting the curb. I'm like, I'm sorry.
That's probably exactly how you did it. Curb.
Right.
Curb.
Like, I can't. it's just so weird.
It is. I would imagine how disorienting it would be.
I didn't like it, and I don't ever want to do it again, honestly. But that's me.
I promise I'll not try to lead every single question with, this might be a stupid question, because I feel like every question I ask is stupid. But
how would you learn?
Well,
if you didn't ask?
no, but I'm like assuming that if I have an Indiana driver's license, I'm assuming if I go to England or Ireland, they accept that to rent a. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's
I
nothing.
think you have to show like your
That's
passport.
kind of them.
And,
There's nothing in addition. Yeah, there's nothing in addition to that you have to have.
in
Right?
Scotland, I didn't have to have anything extra, and that's the only country I've ever driven in.
And they didn't care that you're like used to driving on the other side of the road. There's no like training.
See, that's
No,
crazy.
they just
like,
give you the keys. It's so
That's
weird.
nuts.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Are the signs like kind of the same, like similar in?
No, I feel like they're a little bit different. Like,
But I mean, like an intent. Like, could you see one of their signs and be like, "Oh, I need to yield here. Or I need to stop." Or, I mean, is it that much different? Where you can't like look at it.
no,
And
I
tell
guess it's not that much different, but they're different. The roundabouts are kind of a
Big Ben kids.
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Parliament.
Big Ben.
Hey, little kids. Forget it.
We know Big Ben.
On the way from the airport into town, we didn't get the car until like a couple days into the trip. I rode up front with our van driver and asked him questions. I'm like, what do I need to know about driving over here? Because I've never done it.
Yeah, she's good. Like she thinks ahead and
So
plans and
I
prepares.
thought the best tip that he gave me was they use speed cameras over there. So you'll see a sign with a camera, and then you'll see a sign later on down the road that with another camera, I think. But anyways, between those 2 points, if you've gotten from point A to point B faster than the speed limit would allow you to get there, and they take your picture, like you'll get a ticket. So there's not a cop there taking your speed. Mm-hmm. So it was like,
I'm gonna have to process that a little bit more.
yeah, it was just really hard because I have a little bit of a lead foot, and then I would see those signs, and I'm like, oh, I've got to really make sure that I'm not going any faster than the law would allow.
Oh my.
Me to get between these 2 points. But it's a great way to control speed on these narrow roads that are,
Yeah, that would be, the thought is scary to me.
Yeah, so this probably gets into like the prep stuff that we were talking about, but like how in the world do you know what to bring? How do you know what to pack?
How do you pack for a trip to Europe?
I mean, I guess some of it's probably like obvious. Like everybody in England, it's always like overcast and cold, I would assume. But how much prep work do you do for that? Like, how do you know what to bring?
I usually look at the weather, like weather
Sort of
apps or like
weather.
average weather in March in wherever. There's all the bloggers will tell you like what they pack in their.
I guess my worry, my mind goes to, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know how dressy or how casual, and
I think that I don't ever do anything really dressy when I go to places because I guess it's not really what I want to do.
but if you're walking around Ireland or England and you've got a hoodie and some jeans and tennis shoes, you're not going to be like frowned upon.
No.
Yeah,
for
are you gonna
being-
look like a moron? Are they gonna be like American?
I mean,
they
because
might-
TikTok has really fucked my mind up. When you see like Milan, just the streets of Milan and what people are wearing, it's
Oh.
like, damn. Like
It's like on European Vacation when they come out of that store and they're wearing like over the top like silver.
like I'd stick
real
out like a
loud
sore
outfits.
thumb.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that maybe you can spot the Americans for being a little bit more casual, but I think
yeah.
they're fine. Like,
Well, I think it's like even like the slim fitting look, like that seemed like it started like more of a European,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of made its way, like the slim fit stuff's made its way here. But I could definitely see that, like showing up in like real baggy pants and baggy hoodies, and you're like, who the hell?
Yeah, super
You're-
cash.
Everything's like super slim fit.
white New Balance dad shoes. Like the,
My husband just got those
He's so proud.
about
He's
a
like, they're
year-
$30.
about a year ago, and every time he wears them, I'm like, the dad shoes.
I have the hip ones. I don't have the dad ones.
like
They're not white.
in
right.
Iceland, everything I read was windproof and rainproof
Oh yeah,
because they get a lot of rain. And we were there in November, so everything was because you don't want to be miserable. Like if you have the wrong clothing on and get wet,
Yes.
you're going to be just miserable the rest of the day. So I made sure that I had rain pants, wind pants, I had ski pants. I wore the wind pants over my leggings every day.
Wow.
The wind there was no joke.
But was it gorgeous? I mean,
Yes,
It looks-
stunning.
Do they have
So
the
amazing.
fjords, or am I thinking of Greenland fjords? Remember? Those are-
I guess they probably do.
Okay, I just like saying that word.
we'll see fjords up in the Pacific Northwest.
in the Bjorgen Fjords. So it's funny that she mentioned Iceland because we're going to see Rainn Wilson on Saturday, and he has that show on HBO Max where he travels to these different places to see what happiness.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
And he goes to Iceland, and that's like they rated it as like one of the top happiest places on earth.
Yes.
Like just the people are happy in general, and the culture and the nature there is just so positive and calm. And he said he loved it. He's like,
it is beautiful, and I want to go back in the summertime when it's warmer or more daylight. Really, probably cold in the summertime too.
Right.
But it was Iceland was amazing.
And when did you take that trip?
This past November.
Oh wow. Okay.
We went in November because we wanted to see the Northern Lights.
oh, cool.
God.
That's
That's another
Man.
bucket list for me too.
she's just been to so many places.
I know.
So we saw them we booked it the very first night because the tour company, if you didn't see them, you could get on a different tour like another day. But we were lucky to see them the very first night.
See, I looked that up once online, and it seemed so unpredictable that I
think
was
it is like with the cloud cover, but
Yeah.
The way we book or we plan the trip, well, I plan the trip. I did most of the planning. I looked at the moon phases.
Oh my god.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
We say that on our episodes a
We
lot.
do.
Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
And it was like
That's very
the
smart.
new moon. Was it the new moon where there's no moonlight? So
Yeah.
there was no moonlight the night that we did our tour. So yeah, that's how deep I got into it for the Northern Lights because I wanted to make sure we saw them.
Well,
Right.
hell yeah! You don't want to go through all of that. And
I don't
not
want to go
see
to
it.
Iceland in November
And that's why
and not see the Northern Lights.
I was like, oh God, how will I ever, because of the unpredictability of it, but that's very, very smart. And I would expect nothing less from you. I think it's a good time to take a break.
Agreed.
When we come back, we're going to ask her some more questions because I want to hear about your favorite places, your least favorite places. I want to talk about the food. I want to talk about the aches and pains for people our age. And I want to hear your best travel tips.
okay.
Hey, listeners, do you like judging people as much as we do?
Then judge us.
To submit your criticisms and complaints about our show, you can reach us at gotohell@bazinga.biz.
For all other comments, questions, or suggestions about future episodes, drop us a line. Send us a text from our website at thebestofgenx.buzzsprout.com and click on the link just above the show notes.
Or email us at thebestofgenx@gmail.com.
All right, we're back. I got to give a quick shout out. A friend we all went to school with, her name's Amy, and she reached out to me this past week on Facebook. She shared a video, and I know I've mentioned these people before, but if you're not following on YouTube or TikTok, the Holderness family, they do music parodies, and they are Gen X, and their stuff is so good. Anyway, she sent me one of their videos, and she also said that she recently started to DoorDash, and so she started listening to our podcast while she DoorDashed. And I think it's awesome, Amy, that you're listening. And she said she sent me a message this morning saying, "I'm all caught up. What's next?" And I was like, "Our latest episode coming out today." So just wanted to give a shout out to her. Thanks for listening. It means the world to us, and we're glad you liked the show. And we have a fact check update.
Whatever. So I said Buenos Aires. She said Brazil. It is Christ the Redeemer statue is in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
She was right. We were wrong.
Nobody cares.
Damn it.
Hey, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Sorry, Brazil.
God, I'm so pissed.
But hey, we're learning.
That's right.
Okay, so we have some more questions.
Can I ask the first one?
Please.
Tell us, this is such a dude question. Tell us about the bathroom situation in these other countries.
I've heard horror
Is it
stories.
any different?
Oh, I feel like that might be an old thing. Like every time I've been to Europe, I've had a room with a bathroom, like in the room. I've never stayed at a hotel. I'm sure they might still exist where you have the bathroom down the hall, but
Yeah, like on the European vacation.
I
They stayed in
think
the Pig in the Poke Hotel and he had to walk down the hallway to take a shower.
You had to share with everybody else.
Yeah.
I know in high school, the trip when we went to France, I think the room had a bidet. The bathroom had a bidet in it, but
That's interesting. I think that would be
But-
refreshing, personally.
I've heard they're life changing.
Oh, God.
I might get one.
Yeah. I'm gonna get one in my new house, I think. But
I can't associate the word refreshing with a bidet, because when I hear refreshing, I think of like a glass of water with like a cucumber in it. Like, not a bidet. That's cleaning your ass.
And that's refreshing to me.
But whatever.
the bathrooms have been
Pretty
normal.
standard.
Yeah, pretty standard.
I know in the past I had a student who went on one of those school trips and came back and told me about the bathroom. One of the bathrooms they had where there was like a hole in the floor.
What?
Yeah, I know I didn't dream that. Well,
Like in their hotel or just at at the mall?
I thought it was like a hotel,
Like a hole for what?
Like a
the
trough?
hole was for something, or it was just a hole?
a hole to pee in it.
Oh.
For the men? Was it a men or?
I don't remember,
Oh.
but I just remember hearing a story like that, and it's scary. It added to my list of fears.
It has that very medieval feel.
No, I don't know. Maybe I was drunk. I don't know.
That's a possibility.
No, I just remember hearing that story. But so how involved is the actual getting there? Like I'm nervous about how complicated it is just to get there and the logistics of all of that.
I don't think it's bad. I mean, like if you leave Louisville, you'll have to go to a hub, for like Atlanta or
Like,
Dulles
is O'Hare
or Detroit, O'Hare.
Yeah.
And then take your over the pond flight from there. It's not bad. It's
How
just,
many hours ish?
Depends on where you go. Like from Chicago to Iceland, Reykjavik was, I think, 6 hours.
That's not bad.
Wow.
Actually. I mean,
Six.
hell, Louisville to Vegas is like 3.5.
Yeah.
So what about
When you're on the
to-
east coast of Europe, it's really
Right.
like Greece or farther Eastern Europe would be obviously a little bit longer.
So when you've been to Ireland and Germany, like how long of a trip was that?
Like the whole trip or
Like to get there?
to get there. It's like all day because you leave here, in the morning and then the flight over is typically in the evening, overnight flight, and then you get there at 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
So you're doing like domestic layovers until evening.
So
Yes.
if you're thinking about a trip like this, you have to pretty much assume 24 hours just to get there, a day to get there.
It's probably like 18 hours of travel time, but by the time you leave your house and get there, and then you can't check into the hotel, until 3 o'clock unless you book it the day before, which is I've never done that, but that's wasted money. It's a long time to be in one outfit.
So
Just 2 days,
how is
isn't
the jet lag? I mean, is it as bad as they say?
I've never struggled with it too much, but I've always kind of, at least on a trip to Europe, like everything is jam-packed with activity. Like I'm just on the go the whole time, so I don't have time to let
Right.
myself be tired. And the best thing is to just stay up that first day.
You're talking to a woman that goes to bed every night like 6:30.
Easy.
Like you can't get there and be like, oh, I'm exhausted, I need to sleep, and then you wake up in the evening and
Yeah.
you got to just kind of
Go with the
You just
flow.
gotta
push
power through.
Power through.
the first day and get yourself on that schedule.
Very much rethinking her
I
decision.
am. I'm like, ugh. Well, that was another thing. I'm asking some of my questions out of order, but for people our age who do have some aches and pains, like how am I going to get these bad knees around Ireland, England, Scotland?
Gosh,
Like how much walking are we talking about?
as much as you want to do,
Really?
I think. I mean, it depends. Like there's a lot of the big cities in Europe have hop on, hop off buses. So it's like $40 or whatever. It's good for 24 hours or some
Oh,
of them
wow.
are 48 hours. And
That's cool.
it goes, they're narrated and it stops at all the highlights,
So the
which
whole
are
day.
not too bad.
So you know,
So you can realistically stay in a place where the things you want to see are in walking distance, or hop
Yeah.
on a bus.
Yeah, just depends on where you want to stay. If you want to stay at an Airbnb or a less expensive hotel, you're probably a little farther out of the city center. But if you want to be really close to all the highlights of the things you're going to see, then you might pay a little bit more, and you're in walking distance to everything. I like to be within walking distance of the stuff in the city, and then book day tours out of the city.
That's what I was
Buses.
wondering. Yeah,
that's smart.
That's what I was
Because-
wondering about.
Especially like after driving in Scotland, I don't want to drive on the other side of the road ever again.
Right.
I'd rather just pay for a tour.
Yeah, I want to try it one time. I want to drive on the other side one time just to
Just
say
to
I've done
see.
it. say I've done it.
But really, when you're in the city, you don't need a car. So, but Europe also is really good with public transportation. You know, there are buses and trains and light
Yeah.
rail and
Well, doesn't London have like a subway system that's pretty well known?
yes,
Can't remember what it's
the tube.
called. What is it?
The tube.
Yeah,
The tube.
Yeah, you can get anywhere. That's another, I think, failure of the American society that we don't have
We don't have metro everywhere. We should-
nationwide rail.
Right.
That we depend so much on our cars, but we're vast. We're a lot bigger than these countries.
Right, sure.
So, but yeah, the public transportation is so good in Europe.
Well, that's good news for someone like me because, you know, I'm just thinking I could not schlep all over without.
No, you would complain about that a little bit, I think.
I would complain.
And I have a bad knee, and I would probably complain a little bit. But
Well, speaking
only
of
after.
complaining, I'm not proud of this, and as much as I would love to admit that I'm a trooper, I like the creature comforts. And so going into the unknown, I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to get my, I don't know, my Diet Coke?
They have it over there. It's more expensive.
What if I get
probably,
there and it's
but-
colder than I anticipated? Lots of shops. You can just walk in, buy yourself a hoodie.
Yes.
Because I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be stuck in a foreign land where I don't know how to become comfortable.
Right.
Are there okay, let me explain myself. I mean, to be fair, I'm not a complete dunderhead. I've been to New York City. I was one of the chaperones on a trip, but I was dead weight because I had Mallory with me, and it was just a nightmare. There is nowhere in New York. First of all, there's not a fruit or vegetable in sight. So I felt just gross and hot and sticky and unhealthy the entire time. And also, you couldn't ever find enough water. You couldn't ever find a bathroom. No one would ever let you use the restroom. And we're talking just like packed away from everything. If you want to go to Times Square and there are shops everywhere, they will not let you. They will just as soon watch you shit your pants than let you use a restroom in New York City. And I wonder how much is that like?
I have not had that experience in Europe, but I guess in any of the touristy things you're going to do, they're going to have a public bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there are pay bathrooms in Europe too, where one of our tours in Ireland, we were in, I think it was Galway, and they had a bathroom like in the mall. There's like a little shopping area. I don't know if it was really a mall, but the bathroom you had to pay to get into it. It had like a turnstile, I think. Like it wasn't very much, but
hey, a bathroom's a bathroom.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of pace, that made me think of something. So, what's the currency like? How easy or difficult is the conversion and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's one of the things that goes into the planning of this. Do you have to
Do you
all
have
that?
to convert, or can you use American dollars while you're?
No. Most places take euros. Well, most of Europe is on the euro.
Mm-hmm.
England, Northern Ireland, Scotland are on the pound sterling still. I think Iceland was still on their own. They follow the rules of the European Union, but they're not members, so they're still on their currency. But I use my credit card. Get a credit card that has no international transaction fees, because that will save you a little bit of
writing
money.
this down?
I write it down right now.
I am not a math person. Like
Me neither.
Anybody who knows me will tell you that I am really bad at fast math.
Me too.
So I usually just in my head, I try to think of like what is $5 or $10 in euro, and then I kind of multiply from there. Then I kind of know, I'm spending $90 on this sweatshirt. That is really dumb. I'm not going to buy it.
Is it
But-
more expensive there?
The exchange rate every time I've been, it's been like, worse. You lose a little bit of money. But Europe is just expensive.
Right.
I think, like in Iceland, I thought very expensive. The food was amazing. Best food I think I've ever had on a vacation, but it was very pricey.
In Iceland?
Iceland.
No wonder those people are happy.
I know, that was one of my questions. So what kind of food are we talking?
Well, the one tour guide that we used the most there, he said everything is organic. So there's like no chemicals or, it's all just very fresh. Like the first night we ate at Fish and Chips. So it was just fish, fries, and I got a soft drink. And it was a good sized portion, but it was $35. And then one night we ate at a Mexican restaurant and I had a quesadilla and a margarita. And that was like close to $60.
Oh my Lord.
Schmuckies, yeah.
So but like I had saved money for the trip, so I didn't have to worry too much about how much I was spending on food, but it was very expensive.
So were you able to pretty much use your credit card anywhere?
Yes, in Iceland especially. Like that was something I read before I went, that they'll take cash, I guess, but you don't ever have to have cash. Everywhere will take a card.
What about are there a lot of opportunities for tipping where you probably should have some on hand?
Tipping is really not a part of the culture in Europe.
That's okay. Well, organic food and no tipping. Can we adopt some of these customs, please?
I think they pay everybody a livable wage. They will. They try to. I think there are some places where you can tip, and they may expect it, but they expect it from Americans.
Oh, because we're used to it.
Because
so
we're used to it. They think that.
Assholes. Bastards.
I'll be like, you can't trip me.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'm Canadian.
I've done my research, damn it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry.
Well, what I did mention Diet Coke earlier. I know that you are a fan of Diet Coke.
I am.
And here is another Amanda story.
Man, you've got a lot of hidden Amanda stories I didn't know about.
I told you she's got real estate in my head.
No kidding.
So I remember in the aftermath of the tornado in 2012, I remember you posting something because I used to need a Diet Coke every day.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be a McDonald's Diet Coke every day.
I'm with you.
I have since come out of that addiction, but I understand it. And so when I read this post, your post on Facebook, you were like, because everybody's just like desperate to help. And you feel so helpless, and it's just down the road, and you can't get in unless you're on some sort of like rescue team or whatever. And so we're all just reaching out on Facebook. What can we do? What do people need? What can we donate? And I remember you posted something like, do you think anybody needs Diet Coke? I know if my house had been destroyed by a tornado, I'd cut a bitch for a Diet Coke.
That was like just in my memories the other day because that was when the trip. Yeah,
so
it makes me laugh.
And
just
because
thinking
I
about it.
understand exactly where you were coming from, I never forgot that.
Yes.
That is so funny.
That's why I asked that question. Like when you're in Europe and there are things that you just have to have. How
It's there, but I think I'd probably drink more water when I'm there because
all the walking and
and it's I don't want to pay a lot for a Diet Coke.
Sure.
Like I can do without it for a week or so, but the water in Iceland is very, very fresh too. It's delicious.
Man. Okay, we're gonna
Iceland.
add that. Yeah,
Iceland is sounding pretty good.
Like when I posted about Iceland, I'm like, if it's on your bucket list, move it to the top because
Wow.
I loved it that much.
Ooh, that could be a good. No pun intended. That could be a good icebreaker with Rainey Wilson because he's been there. Ooh, we can be like, hey, we're trying to go to Iceland, and then see if he wants to be our buddy for 10 minutes and talk about it.
I was thinking of telling him, hey, we lost our house in a fire too, because he's going through that at the moment.
Oh,
wow.
in LA?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
But he fortunately didn't lose everything, just like a couple of rooms in his home, but like the fencing and then his neighbors just utterly destroyed. So he's dealing with it, and he's trying to reconcile the gratitude that he feels for not having lost everything with the pain in the ass that it is to have a house fire. And
God, I feel like we're going to try to cram so many
we're going to be like
fanboy and fangirl conversations with him in like 5 seconds.
We'll just be at the end of the line and then say, let's take you out to lunch, buddy. Can we take you out?
You got to be tired.
But yeah, I was just wondering about those comforts. Did you miss anything particularly about America when you were away?
No. I mean, not that I can think
It's
of.
okay to say no.
Did all of these trips sully your image of America afterwards? In any way?
I think not necessarily, but more in just the way that we could be better. Like
that's
our
smart.
food could be better for sure.
That's one of the things that gets me excited about the Make America Healthy Again. I'm excited to see what can be done to make our food healthier and
Yes.
less full of
And
chemicals.
see, I'm
Yeah.
nervous about going international because I'm afraid I won't like the food.
Well, I think that's a stereotype. Another stereotype that I've been fed is, well, no pun intended, but is that the food in Europe is so bad. It's what I've always
And
heard.
it seems like it's more like London, England, like that area. It seems like that's what I hear the most. Outside of like
How
fish and
true.
chips.
How true.
I think English food is not like, like a great cuisine, maybe.
Yeah.
But I've heard that London has some of the best ethnic food
That might be true.
because there's such a melting pot. Probably
Yeah,
like going to New York City or
It just seems to me
somewhere
what
here.
the horror stories I've heard is like it's more traditional type food, but it's like a weird mashup of like all these different things
Yeah.
that you wouldn't normally put together.
right.
Like in Ireland, when you order fish and chips, you get like mushy peas, which I did not care for, which are
See, I
just like
wouldn't.
the canned peas that are been mushed. I think is what.
Just like it sounds. No, I would just want some straight up fried fish and some French fries.
But are you a picky eater here?
Not really, no.
I think you would find something you could.
Okay, good.
I'm telling you, the food in Iceland, and all of us that went, like, the food just blew my mind. It was so good, everything. And I'm not a picky eater. Like, there's some things I
Yeah.
don't like, but
Was
for
it
the most
was it
part-
mostly like the types of food that you're familiar with, or was there like food that you were like, what is that? Like, what is that even?
Oh, well, we did a food tour in Iceland. That's another good tip.
Why have we not put that
if
on the
you-
top of? That's,
Jeez.
If you go somewhere like to try different cuisine, like so we did a tour and they took us to 4 or 5 different stops.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the stops they did give us fermented shark, which
that doesn't sound appealing at all.
and it was not it no. I don't know if I think it is a traditional food, but I don't know if it was like something it was the only way to preserve foods. That's just how they had to eat it. I couldn't eat it.
Mary Beth got all
Interesting.
excited because she's a big Jaws nut. So if you just say the word shark, she gets.
I get all excited.
She gets all dorky about
But I
it.
wish we would have done that tour the first day or two
Mm-hmm.
because it just introduced us to different dishes. That
How did you know about that tour? Is that just like through Google, or did you like locals tell
Reddit.
you about it?
Reddit is another good resource.
Dang.
There's
I
a visiting Iceland subreddit that I found a lot of things on that. subreddit.
Can we shadow you next time you like organize a trip? I want to shadow your process. I mean, I,
can
bet you
send
it's pretty.
I can send you my Word document.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see
I
that.
think you might have missed your calling, honestly.
I know.
No, I should have been a travel agent.
Start your own company.
And you're just one of those people, I bet, that just like goes to a different cool place every year. Like you're just like, okay, this is.
I
every
try
year
to.
yeah.
I mean, why not?
You seriously could be a one-woman agency right now.
yeah, it's cool.
The way it sounds.
We're
I
helping.
mean,
you
I love going to other countries and the culture and seeing different things and the history and whatever. But there's great places in the United States too. Like if you don't want to travel outside of the country, there's so much to see here. Like when I retire, I want to get a national park pass.
That sounds
Go-
awesome.
and
that
go to all
sounds
the
cool.
national parks.
That's cool.
So let's talk about the price tag. I mean, I couldn't even guess ballpark what it would be per person to go to Ireland, for example. So how much ballpark would you have to save?
I feel like she's gonna say it depends on when you go.
It does depend on when you go.
Okay,
probably.
so give us the high and the low end.
Oh, summertime's going to be more expensive because there's
There-
more
people are
daylight. What weather's better?
Well, people on break like here, right?
Yes,
They wanna
and
go.
everyone's going there. So just the demand. I mean, I've seen airfare 900 to 1200
And that's
maybe
round trip?
trip.
That's not too bad. I was thinking more actually.
But I don't know like now if that was the last time I looked into going to Ireland.
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't
That
know. And
doesn't
it depends. Like,
surprise me about the flights, but I'm thinking also of like the room and board situation.
Lodging.
yeah, there's yeah. If you
If
want to
you
rent a
got one.
car and
If you didn't rent a car, but just like the hotel and like food for the week.
I
Sounds
think
like a lot.
Ireland was not as expensive, I didn't think, to eat as Iceland was. Gosh, it's hard to say. I should have researched this before.
Well,
I mean,
I thought
you've
you
been
could
to
throw
these
out a
I
number.
would say, like, for myself, I would plan on probably like $50 to $70 a day to eat.
that's it.
Yeah.
I ate a lot.
But
Now, when
but
you
I like don't. I can just have like a coffee in the morning and
I kind of could do
lunch
that too.
and dinner, and
yeah.
it just depends on like how much you're going to drink and
I could do
and
something
what
like that
type
too.
of what type of places you're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
if you're
actually
going
not
to,
as much as I
That's
thought.
not me
if
either.
you're going to like high end restaurants every night,
And I don't
then
have
obviously
to.
a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm not.
What about hotels?
The last time I was there, I found the hotels to be comparable to what you would pay here in a big city.
Man.
So,
And
So,
are
like-
they like? I mean, do they have all the amenities?
Do they have like the continental breakfasts? Is that a thing there?
Little muffin.
Yeah.
they do full Irish breakfast, you know, like with fried
really?
eggs and sausage and potato and
I
beans.
asked that. I'm not even really a big breakfast person, but I was just curious. I mean,
there's some hotels where you can, you know, pay for that as part of your room, or you can not
Yeah.
do it.
gotcha.
Just
Okay.
depends on what you're.
I mean, I'm kind of one of the people that could do a couple cups of coffee in the morning and I'd be good.
Oh, sure.
But like if you're going on a bus tour, last time I was there, we would stop and get our coffee, and then the bus tour would always make a bathroom break, coffee stop at like a gas station
Right.
once they got out of the city, and then you could get something to eat there. And
Are
then,
those tours kind of expensive?
I don't know, like the all full day tours were like 120,
Okay,
maybe
so
90 to 120.
so maybe
I
that-
guess it'd be comparable if you rented a car.
yeah. So I was gonna say, Mary Beth, take out the tour thing. So far, what she's explained, all in, we're only at like $2,500.
I mean, is that? I was gonna say, my brain goes to 2,000 to 3,000.
My brain goes to that just
Per
for the flights.
person.
My brain goes to that just for the flights.
I mean, I would, for a week, to be comfortable, like I would say 4,000 per person.
Was that like an oh shit? Or
Yeah, that was an oh
Really?
shit.
Well, but like
So I think that's good.
I don't know, like it just depends on what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I can do some researching. Back to you.
That's all good.
I want to be realistic.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like in my head, I'm thinking 10 to 12,000 for like a trip.
Oh,
to Scotland.
I was not
No.
thinking that.
No.
I was in the 3,000 ballpark, but
Like when I was younger, I would definitely budget myself more, but now that I'm older, I save more. I'm better about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I don't have to worry about it. That's probably one of my biggest tips, I guess, is to save up before you go.
yeah.
And see,
And
I'm
then
not
don't have
I'm
to
not the
worry
type
about
that
it.
would require, Mary Beth, like a ton of activities. You know what I mean? Like I
Me-
just want to
same.
sightsee and just
Same.
I want to randomly just walk into a pub and have a couple beers. or
Right.
just-
I would want to just walk around for a week
Experience
as if I lived there.
exactly. So I don't know that I have to have like an itinerary of activities.
But I'd love to take a food tour.
Yeah, for sure.
Or a
100%.
have you done a castle tour?
No. One of the I think when we went to close to Mower, we stopped at a castle. We didn't go in, but it was
I would
just
love
like
to
an
see
old.
castles.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
was Bunready Castle, I think was the one. I don't.
That would be I think that would be on my list of things to do. I'd be looking up castle tours.
Agreed.
So would Iceland be your favorite based on what you've said?
Ireland is probably my favorite, but Iceland would be a very close second.
Yeah, because you've been to Ireland more than once, you said.
Yeah,
And
I love it there.
Tell me about it. What did
Yeah,
you
like,
like
why
about
is that
it?
on top?
First, I was telling him in another episode, a friend of mine, well, my supervisor at work, she went as a chaperone for her niece's school trip just last year. And she said, Ireland is so gorgeous. And she said, the land is breathing.
That's
how
a
she
very
just-
good description.
Yeah.
It's as green as you think it's going to be. And the first time I went, I was there it's for my birthday, so into November, beginning of December, and it was green then.
Oh wow.
Like it's green year round, and it's beautiful, and the people are nice, and then you just expect fairies to come, like
That's
the
exactly-
mythology or whatever. You
That is
think that it's gonna,
exactly what she friggin' said.
Yeah.
She was like, the land is breathing, and you feel like a fairy is just going to fly out of one of the trees.
yeah,
Really?
That's amazing.
or that John Wayne's going to be dragging Maureen O'Hara across. Like that was one of my favorite movies growing up, The Quiet Man.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
Oh my
one of the
God.
tours that my niece and I did, we drove through Connemara, and the bus driver was like, "Oh, and there's the cabin from Quiet Man," and just kept on going. Like
bet
I
you were
didn't even
like-
get a chance to get a picture of it.
So in my mind, I feel like Ireland and Scotland. This would offend the hell out of Irish and Scottish people, but I feel like they're like kind of similar. Do they feel similar when you go to them?
In look, The landscape.
That's
Yes.
what I thought.
Okay. Yeah, but the culture's quite different, I'm sure. But yeah, I just visually feel like it would be the same or similar.
When we did the Ring of Kerry tour, which is like the south western coast of little peninsula in Ireland, the guide, I'm pretty sure, said that like when Pangea was still a thing, like the Ring of Kerry, that part of Ireland was like Appalachia or connected to Appalachia.
Oh, I see.
And when he said that, I'm like, I can see it.
Yeah.
I do think this
sounds
looks
so
a little
cool.
like Appalachia.
Oh, that's cool.
So what's your favorite part about Ireland that has led you back there?
Gosh, it's so pretty. I don't just like it there.
So it's probably like a mixture of it being aesthetically pleasing, people are welcoming.
Yes, and I'm a
sweet.
redhead, so I think maybe
Feel like
I
you're
feel at
obligated
home.
to like it. Yeah.
I feel at
That's
home.
cool.
Is London overrated?
I didn't think so.
That's actually a really good question.
It seems very busy to me.
Yeah.
It is a huge city, and what I found interesting in London, and I think I took a picture of it, was at the crosswalks, it tells you to look right. Yeah. It's because we would look left, right, left again. You know, for traffic, you got to look right there because the traffic is
Oh
going
my
to come
Lord!
from the other direction. And
We're gonna
it's
get run
telling
over.
you,
For 100%. Yeah.
it's painted on the road, look right. Or it was
I'm over here
20
getting all
plus
cocky,
years
like
ago.
I want to drive on the other side of the road. I'm gonna get hit just like as a pedestrian. I'm just gonna get killed as a
I have a serious sweet tooth. Where are the best desserts?
Oh,
Seems like Paris. Seems like France.
I would imagine a patisserie.
The Crips.
they had great ones in Iceland, but but that's my most recent trip.
Your face
you know?
very bad.
8 points for Iceland so
Yeah,
far.
Jesus. Got some kind of it's
Great desserts in Iceland, huh?
Yeah. It's tipping
Yes.
an Iceland scale at the moment, I think. What about? Did you say you've been to Italy? Sorry,
I've not been to Italy.
Is that on your list?
It is on my list. Yeah, I would love to go there.
because I'm on Twitter again, like I said, or X, and one of my favorite accounts that I retweet quite a bit. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just the name of the account. It's called View Porn.
Yeah.
But it's like vacation destinations and
Beautiful
really cool
pictures
yeah.
and stuff.
And it's like mountainside pictures of Italy, Lake Como or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I retweet those a lot. I'm like, man, I'm like a little kid, like looking at a Christmas tree when I look at these pictures. I'm like, I just want to visit these places.
Yeah.
I want to do a
experience
food
it.
tour in Italy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Like-
one place that I've heard
Like that
has
Tuscan feel, like those pictures. Just,
how
I'm
like you've had pizza and you've had great pizza, but until you've
Yeah,
had
it's so
pizza in
different.
Italy, you don't know pizza.
yeah.
Learn
Like
how to make
that's-
pasta.
Yeah.
Take a pasta class
Right.
in Italy. That would be fun.
Like if I go to Grassa Grandma across the bridge to eat Italian, I'm like, the inside of it makes me feel like I'm in Italy,
Yeah.
or what I would visualize Italy to be like. Yeah.
I actually tried making my own pasta. TikTok made me do it.
Oh,
It was a
Hey,
disaster.
literally, it
Oh.
made you do it.
It
Literally,
made-
it made you do it.
Literally
Literally.
it made you. Yes, it did. I don't think that I rolled it long enough because it was kind of chewy. I was very disappointed.
Okay, I have a quick question.
But I want to be good at it.
I've always wondered if it was worth it to make your own. Like,
Right.
is it really worth it to go to all
No,
that
it
trouble?
wouldn't be
and
for me.
Is it that much better?
I have a question. So
I expected it to be.
here's another issue I feel like I would have with a trip to Europe. I feel like it would have to be more than a week, and because I've heard that from people. So that was my next
yeah.
question. Because if you're thinking about a full day to get there, then you have to assume a full day back.
Full day back.
So 5 days, is that enough to see everywhere?
I think so. If you're willing to,
Not be lazy.
yeah,
She
keep
looks at
going.
me.
You know,
Hey,
like
not-
if
yeah,
you're
she
willing
did.
to,
Not sleep till 12.
if you're willing to power through and
Wake up at 6
hit
in
the
morning.
highlights, you won't see everything. But if you want to see multiple countries in Europe,
But what's the sweet spot, do you think? Like, is it a full 2 weeks? Is it 10
10
days?
days.
oh, I think like 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
Is that typically what you?
But you're
That's
not
what I-
counting
that's what I do.
You're not counting the travel days. So are you saying like 6 or 7 full days, no matter what, or
To be there,
okay?
yeah.
So 8 or 9-ish days.
Yeah.
How was the food in Germany?
I thought it was great.
I want to go
Really?
to a beer fest in Germany.
Right?
I want to do
Oh,
something.
I
like
want to
that.
do Oktoberfest in
Yes.
Munich
Oh,
so
that'd be
bad.
so cool. I want to dress like Clark Griswold does when he does that dance on the stage.
Lederhosen?
Yeah.
The food in Germany was amazing. I thought, like, I had a dish called Spätzle.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a noodle dish. It was so good. sauerkraut. I don't know what was different about it, but it was the best sauerkraut I've ever had.
It's probably how sauerkraut's supposed to be made.
Probably.
But we
It's- I
have
don't
to,
know
we
how
have
they-
to fuck it up.
Right. I don't know how
Somehow.
it's like it was seasoned. I don't know how
Right.
they seasoned it.
No, I actually
Yeah.
liked sauerkraut more as an adult. I
Yes.
hated it as a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I would really enjoy that, I think.
Yeah. And then I had like Wiener Schnitzel, which was like a deep fried
Yeah,
pork
apparently
cutlet.
there everything has to end in
Oh
soul
my
or
gosh.
out. Kritzel, schnitzel, Kraus sauerkraut. Yeah. Oh, I would love to go there.
Okay, I have to ask another question about Germany, and I'm blaming European vacation. Is sex really German for six?
I think it is.
My
Yes.
family and I are looking for sex. That dude gets so mad he shuts the door in his face. Just so everybody's aware, I'm wearing my Whatever Russ t-shirt in honor of European vacation.
In honor of European vacation,
Whatever Russ.
what part of the movie is that?
Well, there's one part where he's like getting all sentimental, looking at the countryside. And he goes, "This
Exactly.
is where your forefathers are from." And Russ goes, "Dad, Grandma's from Chicago." He goes,
Whatever,
whatever,
Russ. Whatever.
whatever."
Is
Good
that
stuff.
Anthony Michael Hall?
No, that was Johnny. No, not Johnny Galecki. That's Christmas Vacation. It was the taller Russ.
Yeah, I
Dad, Grandma's from Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't think he ever amounted
I don't think he
anything as
made
an
other
actor. But
movies.
it was Anthony Michael Hall. Then it was the tall one. Then it was Johnny Galecki. The
That's
little,
what I'm
okay.
talking about. Like European Vacation is the least appreciated of all the National
I
Lampoons,
love it.
and it's so amazing.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it kind of warped my my view
Yeah.
of what Europe might be like, and I would run into every Griswold problem that you could run into.
But this last trip to Germany was to see the Christmas markets,
Oh my
which are kind of
gosh.
all
I
over
would
Europe.
be-
Maybe I know like Austria has them. I think there's some in
Well,
France.
Mary Beth
maybe.
and I wouldn't be able to handle ourselves in that environment.
I know.
Because we are the biggest nerds with Christmas. It's
Oh.
We would go crazy.
We decorate in like October.
Oh, they were really nice, and they had like food there that was like the fried potato pancakes,
Mary Beth, mark it down. Mark it down.
Damn it!
these or marshmallows that were like dipped in chocolate.
Quit it.
Holy hell.
Just the food at the markets was really really good,
And so
and I loved it. But I would love to go back to Germany again for like more history.
Mm.
We did do the Gestapo Museum, which was really interesting. A little bit of a downer,
yeah.
but I would like to go back for more of that type of history.
I wonder, is Oktoberfest, is that the beginning of October or the end?
It's actually in September. I
Oh, is
think.
it really?
I think it starts.
Stupid
the
Americans.
The
I was
end
going
of
to ask a
September.
stupid question, but I was like, surely, Joe, it's in October.
I think it's the end of September,
Well, when did you go for the Christmas markets? Was that
December.
actual December?
I think they
'Cause-
start maybe mid to late November.
But how are the flights then in December? Were-
I went on a work flight,
Well,
so a little bit different.
screw you.
I don't know if I could.
But I
leave.
think they would be fine. Like you just fly
Right.
into Frankfurt.
I don't know if I could leave home during the
train.
actual Christmas season, but man, I'd love to see all of that
Well,
at
it
Christmas
depends. I
time.
mean, if it's like beginning of December, it's probably not a big deal.
Or if it's like late November, I'd do it.
Right.
You've given me something to think about.
Well, because I imagine in late November they probably have it started. I would think the Christmas
Interesting.
stuff. I mean, you would think.
We'd plan the trip. Like, the day we leave, they're putting up their garland. Be like, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
So, what places, not necessarily country, was your favorite, but like, what were your favorite places to go to see, and your least favorite?
That is really hard for me to say because I think I've enjoyed everything in a different
Yeah.
way or for a different
Or at
reason.
least appreciated it.
I mean, obviously, I really, really loved Iceland.
Was there a place where was there a time during any of these trips where you were just like, I need to get the hell out of here? This is like
No,
boring, or I'm uncomfortable, or
no.
that's good to
At
know.
the other end of that spectrum, I would say that I was most pleasantly surprised by Alcatraz, the Alcatraz tour in San Francisco. My friend and I went to Rapid City, South Dakota to go see Mount Rushmore, and that was an amazing trip.
Really?
I loved Rapid City. It's very quaint, and like every corner has a bronze statue of a president. Like all the presidents are
Well, that's cool.
in downtown there, and it was just a really nice short trip.
You seem like you probably a hard question to ask her because she seemes like she has a positive outlook on everything.
Right.
So she's not gonna like talk down to any
Maybe
experience that
not
she
everything.
has.
I was
But
gonna say,
traveling, I do.
are you seem like a trooper. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd
Yeah.
I'd try really hard to be a trooper.
Like, not once you never went to a family member and been like, just stay away from this. Don't do this. Like,
Oh.
or don't go there. Or if you're going to go, if your choices are X, Y, or Z, go here versus here.
I'd have to know what the choices were first.
Well, let's hear your tips.
Yeah.
You already given us quite a few.
Save. Make sure you've got, enough to be able to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, don't go there and then have to penny pinch. Then feel like you
Right,
gotta-
because that's no fun.
Yeah.
Travel in the off season if you can, like in the spring or the fall or the winter. The only thing about Europe in the wintertime, the farther north you go, the less daylight you have.
Okay, stupid question alert. When you say off season, do you mean like
Like
does
Spring
every
and
place,
summer, I would stay
Like
away
not
from.
between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
So you're talking about like not necessarily like a certain place in Europe has its own considered off season. You
Yeah,
just mean like
just
what-
like not summertime.
I got you.
The shoulder season,
Okay.
I think they call it. But yeah, I would go in the off season, and just like research. Look at Reddit. Viator.com has really great tours.
Viator.
VIATOR. TOR, not TOUR.
Got you.
That's a great resource. Just
Maybe that's our scribes.
I am.
There's like smoke
Just-
coming off of her.
just the internet in general, like
And you already said a credit card with no international
yes,
fee.
because like if you do get, and you can get money out of ATMs there, you can get euro
Sure.
cash out. So then you're paying a foreign ATM fee,
Right.
foreign transaction fee, like conversion fee, and they're small percentages, but it still adds up. You know, like an extra.
That's kind of what I was asking earlier. Was you said you use your card, but like let's just pretend I had $2,000 cash. Like let's just pretend. So where do I convert that? Like where do you go?
You can go to banks, or their bigger cities might have just like a conversion.
So it's not like in the airport when you get there they stop you and go, okay, hold on,
No.
we need you to convert this money.
You can convert it there. Like in Germany, we converted cash at the train station. There was a bank there
Okay.
that we could convert cash.
Okay.
But most places, like I took cash to Germany because of the markets. I thought it would be easier to pay cash for some of the stuff. But if I'm going in shops, I'll just use my card.
Yeah, that makes
I don't
sense.
travel with a lot of cash.
Yeah, I would.
I might have
smart.
cash on me, like to use at the airport here for.
Yeah, just like little petty
Snacks.
cash. What they call
But
petty
yeah,
cash.
but I've
Okay.
more and more. It's just as easy to use a
Yeah.
card.
What else?
And you did. I'm sorry. You did say you book yourself mostly.
Yeah, I book myself mostly.
But like the way you book it, do you go through like any? Do you go through any sites like where you have to pay fees? If that makes sense, what I'm asking, or do you just go direct, like whatever you're, like wherever you're trying to go, like at a hotel, or because there's like Expedia and all this other stuff.
I look around. I'll look at all the websites. I'll go to the hotel website itself. I'll go look on Expedia, Orbitz, whichever one has the best price.
Okay.
Have you ever had a situation where it looks a certain way online, but when you show up, it's like,
Ooh, that's a good question.
"Wah."
No, not really. I guess the place we stayed at in Iceland was an Airbnb, and it did look a little bit larger with their wide angle camera, probably for their
Yeah.
pictures. But it was fine. It still looked the same.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as big as spacious as I thought it was going to be.
Do you
But it
find
was fine.
hotels in Europe versus Airbnb, which is like more convenient?
I think hotels are because
Yeah.
they're usually in the center of
Yeah, I was gonna
everything.
say proximity is probably
Like
hotels.
the Iceland one was very close to like the main street where all the shops and restaurants and stuff, or where most of them are. So we were close, and I think I prefer hotels.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be easiest and most familiar.
Right.
Yeah, and I think to a certain extent I feel a little safer in a hotel.
Right.
I mean, not that bad things can't happen in hotels, but
Sure.
I feel safer in a hotel.
Well, there's like security, like there's gonna be like security cameras and all that
Yes.
stuff.
So what's next for you?
I'm actually going to Philadelphia in May.
Are you?
But probably this year won't have any big trips, but next year I would like to go to London, I hope.
And you said you had been there.
I've been there once.
But you just didn't get to spend very much time there.
No, because I went and I stayed with a friend that lived in Nottingham, like
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Robin Hood, Nottingham.
Amazing.
That's cool.
So like the whole town was, Maid Marian Way, and I went to Sherwood Forest.
Oh my
and,
God.
Forest.
That's so cool.
And I actually took a bus to Lord Byron's house.
See, that's what I would love to do.
It was very close to Nottingham, so that was really cool. So we did a day trip. We took the train to London and wandered around London all day, and then took the train back.
Oh, I would love to do
But I would like to
something
go
like
and
that.
How far is that from those two?
I think the train was like an hour and a half, maybe.
Oh, so that's not bad.
I don't remember. It's been a really long time, but it wasn't too terribly far.
Well, that's cool.
One day we did a train to Lincoln, saw the Lincoln Cathedral. I think that was used in the Da Vinci Code
Oh, cool.
movies. I think it was in place of one of the churches wouldn't let them film, so they used Lincoln Cathedral, I think.
Is it true that in England, or at least in London, I think London. Anyway, is it true that they sell their like soft drinks like with no ice and it's like tepid? It's like
Yes, that has been my experience.
I've heard that.
It's not
Really?
like it might have a little tiny ice cube in it,
Yeah.
but
I've heard that. You never heard that?
Not in Europe, but when we went to Belize and I got a Sprite, they poured it out of a can into a Ziploc bag and gave me a straw.
oh wow.
So I figured, that's why I
What?
asked you about Diet Cokes.
Why
I'm
not
like,
just
how,
give you the can?
Yeah, I
how
would-
different? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that
think
would
they
have
kept
been
them.
unacceptable to me.
I think they kept them to recycle.
Oh,
But yeah, and so I just wondered, if you're itching for a Diet Coke in Europe, can you depend on?
yeah, they're there.
I wonder if I could just be like, hey, throw some ice in there, extra ice, and they'll be like, American.
But yeah, I've never heard of the ice scarcity.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a cup full of ice. I don't think in Europe anywhere. Not like you would get here, where it's like packed full of ice.
Yeah, somebody once upon a time had told me it's like those literally serve it in like a glass without any ice, and it's just like room temperature. I'm like,
Wow.
that doesn't seem appealing at all.
We just have to go to Iceland and get some fresh water and
Right.
bring it.
Apparently.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything we didn't cover? Anything you wanted to talk about or share?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's super fun.
Do it. Just go.
Just go, man.
Well,
We got
chance
step
to
one
go.
done. We got step one done.
Yes.
So
Step one, and so now it's just a matter of getting fixated like you do
Yeah.
and
It's
choosing a place and
what
just
happens when you go to so many damn places that your passport pages are full?
it's not.
not full
I
yet.
haven't gone that many places. but,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
seems like you have.
You
Seems
can
like
you can
it.
send it off and get more pages added. I think.
Well,
We may have to do that.
might-
But we got to get on it.
we got to go to one place first, and then let's get our sea legs
Let's
first.
get one stamp in there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just feel like we're at an age where the nest is almost empty for a lot of us. We've poured everything into our work, our careers, our family, our kids. And now for a lot of people our age,
It's, now
it's
or
a
never.
time for adventure. And so I'm just really glad we had a chance to talk to you about this. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for listening to another piece of the Gen X experience worth saving. If you're thinking about a European vacation of your own, you now have tips from a seasoned traveler to make it a better trip than a National Lampoon comedy, immortalized just for you in the annals of history. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the Best of Gen X wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Amanda, can't thank you enough.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Joe, always a pleasure.
Duh.